Welcome, everyone, to this beautiful Monday morning. I hope you had a great weekend because I did. Let's get started with our very first story. I'm going to put up the disclaimer and then we'll get into the details. Our first story comes out of Costa Mesa, California. A 6-year-old boy was killed in a road rage shooting on Freeway 55 in the city of Orange. The gunman is still at large.
It's just not right. You're a parent, you should be able to protect your kid.
Now at 5, breaking news, a family tragedy on the 55 freeway. A mother is the target of road rage, and in the end, her 6-year-old son was killed. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Harvey. That shooting this morning is so heartbreaking and difficult to understand.
It certainly is, and I'm Jeff Vaughn. Thank you so much for joining us. Now the CHP is asking for help to find the gunman. CBS 2 Orange County reporter Michelle Sheely along the 55 with new information at this hour. Michelle?
Yes, and we have better information on the car that the CHP thinks the gunman was in. This is a newer model white Volkswagen wagon, a sport type wagon. Also, we have a witness who talked to the boy's mother, and he says that she said that this car passed her, then got behind her, and then shots were fired.
I mean, she was hysterical, obviously. So, my baby.
A distraught mother whose son was shot in an apparent road rage incident is comforted by officers on the shoulder of the 55 freeway in Orange. The CHP says the car-to-car shooting is unrelated to dozens of recent BB gun attacks on Southland drivers.
What we have is a mom was driving a Chevrolet sedan, northbound 55. Somewhere in this vicinity, her 6-year-old boy was sitting in the right rear passenger seat in the booster seat. There was some type of road rage incident. Unfortunately, the boy in the back seat was shot. He was transported to the hospital, and unfortunately, he was pronounced deceased.
Authorities say the gunman was in a white sedan and fired into the back of the victim's car around 8:10 a.m. There appears to be a bullet hole to the left of the Chevy's license plate. The tragic news of the boy's death came after the Highway Patrol shut down the northbound lanes of the 55 freeway near Chapman Avenue to search for clues. Officers and investigators paced off the crime scene. This couple pulled over to help the mother, who had taken her injured son out of the back seat. They described the road rage incident.
She was driving another car up, passed her up, and as she changed lanes, I guess they went behind her, and it was like, we don't know if basically, they shot into the back of her car, and they hit her son.
The continued freeway violence is petrifying drivers. A memorial for the child has been started on the bridge above the deadly scene.
So we have a kid, it's in your face, and it's too close to our house. And it's just not right. You're a parent, you should be able to protect your kid. If you can't protect your kid, that really hits your heart.
Now, anyone driving on this stretch of the 55 freeway, this is just north of the 22 freeway in Orange between the hours of 7:55 this morning and 8:15, is asked to help the CHP out. This is especially if you have a dash cam in your car. If you've got the footage and we're in that spot, please contact the Highway Patrol because they want to see if you have crucial evidence. By the way, we found out that this little boy lived in the city of Costa Mesa. I'm Michelle Geely, live in Orange. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle.
This morning, a grief-stricken mother's desperate plea after the person who shot at her car, killing her 6-year-old son, still remains at large.
What are your words for the person who did this?
They took my son's life away. And he was beautiful, and he was kind, and he was precious. And you killed him for no reason. And I want to find them, and I want there to be justice to be served for my son.
Joanna Clunan was taking aide to kindergarten Friday morning, driving along the 55 freeway when officials say the apparent road rage incident began possibly with a white sedan.
I was driving on the freeway, and there was a car behind me that cut me off abruptly. I was in the carpool lane with my son, and as I started to merge away from them, I heard a really loud noise, and my son said, "Ow," and I had to pull over, and he got shot.
Officials say it's unclear what sparked the incident, but say the bullet went through the trunk, hitting the toddler in a back booster seat. Joanna frantically trying to save her child.
I pulled over and I took him out of the car, and I tried to put my hand on his wounds while calling 911 because he's losing a lot of blood.
Aiden dying a short while later.
He sang all the time, and the children at the preschool, everybody loved him.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime kid.
I miss him.
And the person who did this can't get away with it.
That was truly a sad, sad story, and they're still on the lookout for that individual that shot that 6-year-old child. Let's move on to our next story. This one concerns PrismaReyes. She was last seen on surveillance footage taken on her phone when she was reported missing after she was late to pick up her son from the babysitter.
Now to the mysterious disappearance of a young mother in Texas, last seen on this surveillance video at her Dallas apartment complex. This was on Wednesday. Her abandoned Jeep was found a day later. Marcus Moore is there in Texas, has those details for us. Good morning, Marcus.
Robin, good morning. I'm just outside the apartment building where 26-year-old PrismaReyes was last seen, and that street behind me is where investigators found her Jeep abandoned, and that is a critical clue in the search for this young mother.
This security footage is the last trace of evidence police have this morning as the search for 26-year-old PrismaReyes intensifies.
I want to know where my sister's at.
5 days have passed since Reyes was reported missing after being more than 2 hours late to pick up her child from the babysitter.
Nunca había pasado esto antes.
Her mother says that this isn't like her and that it has never happened before. And her tearful stepfather says she would never leave her son.
Her son, he needs he needs to have his mother.
1 day after her disappearance, police recovered Reyes' Jeep from the same apartment complex and say they've spoken to the person on the other end of Reyes' phone call.
I seen that video and it made me break down. It made me just fall, knowing that that's the last thing I could see from her.
Mesquite, Texas police say Reyes seemed to be behaving normally.
She's just talking on the phone. She does not appear to be under duress or anything.
But her stepfather says he is concerned that this video may show just the opposite.
The way she was flaunting her arm and her lanyard for her keys from, it's just a trait that she has.
It is unusual, I think, for anyone to maybe abandon a vehicle, but really to not pick up their child when they're supposed to. I think that's part of our biggest concern is why she didn't pick her child up, and is she safe?
And so that surveillance video is critical, and this morning we don't know what, if any, evidence police have been able to gather from her car. We do know, however, that calls to her cell phone have gone unanswered, and this morning her family and police are desperate to find her. Guys?
I certainly hope she's okay. Okay, Marcus, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe.
Okay, guys, let's move into our next story. It's concerning a young lady who went missing out of Raleigh, North Carolina. She went to the shopping center and was never seen again.
So Raleigh police have identified a woman found dead near a shopping center. Police tell us that Amber Lightsey's body, they found Amber Lightsey's body on North Rogers Lane just before 11 o'clock last night. The 22-year-old was reported missing 4 days ago and was last seen leaving her job at Amnesia nightclub. Right now, police are trying to figure out exactly how she died. If you have any information about this at all, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Okay, our next story It's concerning young teenagers who witnessed their father shoot and kill their mother. It's truly a sad and devastating story.
At 5:03, now to a developing story out of Northwest Harris County that we first told you about last night at 10.
So a man now in police custody, Steph, accused of killing his wife. It happened at their home on Walnut Glen near Fallbrook in the Beltway. Michelle Choi now joining us live with more. And Michelle, I understand the couple's children were the ones who called for help.
Yeah, that's right, guys. But I first want to tell you, Justin, we've now learned from the Harris County Sheriff's Office that husband has been charged with murder and he has been booked into the Harris County Jail. But yeah, going back to that initial part, guys, investigators say the couple's two children, a 13 and 15-year-old, ran across the street to a neighbor's home where they called 911, stating their dad shot their mom. Just a tragic, awful story. Now, the shooting happened at the family's home located here on Walnut Glen Drive. Take a look. This is scene video from last night. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says the husband, the couple got into an argument. The 45-year-old husband, Dakari Lanier, then told their two children to leave the house and then shot his 46-year-old wife, Rhonda Lanier. Investigators say she died here at the scene. Now, this morning, again, as I mentioned, that husband has been charged with murder and has been booked into the Harris County Jail. I have to mention to you guys, sadly, you know, this is the second deadly domestic shooting we've reported on in less than 2 weeks. The other shooting happened out of League City last week, where police say a husband shot and killed his wife before turning the gun on himself. We later learned they were both school administrators. Guys.
Michelle Choi, you're on that story as well. We're going to check back in with you just a little bit later, and we're going to continue to follow this story as new information comes into the newsroom. You can get updates.
Okay, let's move into our last story. And this one is where a husband and wife have a dispute. And instead of just having a rational conversation and talking it out, the husband loses control and ends the life of his wife. This is truly sad.
It's been 4 months since a Colorado mom went missing during a bike ride on Mother's Day. The woman's brother has been very critical of her husband, even though he has not been named a suspect. And now the brother is leading an army of searchers through the mountains looking for clues.
A massive search for a missing mom was launched today.
If you see something, snap a picture of it. Step back. Call me.
Hundreds of volunteers gathered near Maysville, Colorado, where 49-year-old Suzanne Morphew vanished on Mother's Day after going for a bike ride on this dirt path. Her brother Andy Mormon said after 4 months of following the local sheriff's department lead, it was time for him to get boots on the ground and find his younger sister.
We're going to divide and conquer. We're looking for torn clothing, human remains, and things of that nature.
The search drew volunteers from across the state, including John Tig Teagan, who survived the 2012 attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi. He brought his service dog.
We're just out there to see what we can find.
Drones were deployed over the wooded area surrounding the Morphew's home. Mormon says he is realistic and does not believe Suzanne is alive, but he hopes to locate her remains so he can give her a proper burial in their home state of Indiana.
It's definitely foul play. I don't think she ever got on a bicycle. I think that was planted evidence, and I'm not about deciding who's guilty or who's not. But I need to bring closure to my family by finding my little sister, and that's what I'm here for.
Suzanne's husband, Barry, has been under scrutiny from the family since she disappeared, but officials have not named him or anyone as a person of interest. Last May, he pleaded for her safe return in this Facebook posting, but hasn't said a word since then.
I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. I want you back so bad.
He should be standing right here where I'm at instead of me.
Suzanne's family has offered a $200,000 reward for any information that leads to her safe return.
Worked day in and day out, sacrificing more than any of you will ever know. They even continued working and continued their sacrifices as they were being raked over the coals and second guessed as to their skills and abilities. I'm standing here in front of you on this good day because they never quit.
Investigators executed nearly 200 search warrants and received more than 1,400 tips about Suzanne Morphew's disappearance over the past year. And today, finally, an arrest. Suzanne was reported missing on Mother's Day last year. She went for a bike ride, never came back.
Well, search crews combed Chaffee County for weeks, and then May 17th, that is 1 week after she was reported missing, Barry Morphew recorded a video pleading with his wife to come home.
Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you, we miss you, your girls need you.
On May 19th, 2020, we learned the Morphew house was being held as part of the investigation. Then in July, investigators returned to the home. Both times they left without making an arrest or announcing any new information.
And then the case got quiet. Suzanne's brother, Andy Mormon, organized a search party. That was in the middle of September, and they didn't make any significant findings.
I'm prepared for the fact that there's not going to be a good ending in this, but closure would be as good as I could ask for.
And then earlier this year, Barry Morphew sold the couple's home in Maysville. His arrest today is the result of more than 4,000 hours of investigation by a special police task force.
Denver 7's Sloan Dickey is live in Chaffee County with the very latest. Sloan?
Yeah, the big news from here today is this is no longer being looked at as a missing person investigation for Suzanne Morphew, as her husband, Barry Morphew, was arrested on first-degree murder charges. The Chaffee County Sheriff, John Breezy, did not disclose much information about the nature of the case, such as what information over the past year led to the arrest of Barry Morphew. Search teams still have not located Suzanne, given us any information. They have narrowed their search for her body. The sheriff did say that law enforcement has been collecting evidence and building their case over the past year, leading up to the arrest.
Today is not the day for celebration, nor does it mark the end of this investigation. Rather, it's the next step in this very difficult yet very important journey as we seek justice for Suzanne and her family.
And we can confirm that Barry Morphew was arrested near Poncha Springs, which is near Salida. He's being held in the Chaffee County Detention Center, and his first court appearance is set for tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Reporting live in Chaffee County, Sloan Dickey, Denver 7.
Thank you, Sloan. No one.
Okay, guys, and that wraps up this episode of Unsolved, Missing and a Broken Justice System. Please tune back in every Sunday when I'll do a live stream. Have a great week. And if you like what you saw and heard, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell someone about my little old channel, Southern Belle 74, where I give you the latest in entertainment and celebrity news.